We are a team. As storytellers and dreamers,
there is always magic to discover.
Once upon a time,
a Las Vegas showgirl
and a comedian magician,
figured out that even with different perspectives,
our adventures and experiences together
are really just
one big
caper.
Hey there, welcome to One Big Caper. I'm Athena, this is my partner Phelyx, and this is a video/podcast about whatever we want to talk about. Unscripted, and most of these topics are viewer, listener submitted. So,
Yeah, today's was asked of us.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't remember by who though.
It's okay.
It's on a list somewhere.
We can keep it anonymous on purpose or accident.
Oops.
We know the subject, and that is?
And that is the value of experience.
The value of experience. I'm assuming as an entertainer.
As an entertainer,
But
but
I guess it
can
applies
apply
to-
to
yeah.
anything, really.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Actually, my experience as a father has helped me with your girls, probably.
Yeah. My girls are easy.
Comparatively, yes.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know.
So
They're easy now. Who knows?
So that's a broad subject, and I can go several different directions with the value of experience as an entertainer. In my experience, I am interactive with my audience, so there's no fourth wall.
Okay.
And so I'm not performing at a crowd. I'm kind of performing with them. They're part of the show.
Yeah.
So that's difficult to do without a whole pocket full of experience, or flight time, as we say
Yeah.
in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of situations that come up that I can need to prevent a problem. I can need to control a crowd. I can need to control a single person in a crowd. I can recognize something that's really funny and milk more of a laugh out of it.
Yeah.
I can recognize that I'm bombing and I need to change gears.
I mean, that's good. That's like being really aware, because...
Well, I think experience is really the only way to learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You can read all day long about it. It's not the same as experience.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking as you started into this whole thing about your particular experience and how it applies to your world. But then I was thinking, oh, you remember that one episode that we did, the last recording that we just botched?
Yeah.
Because we were having so many technical issues. It was about, about an hour and 10 minutes of footage that we can't use.
We
for
re-recorded,
various reasons. Yeah.
4 times we tried to re-record that?
7.
7 times?
Sorry, 6. 6 times, yeah.
Well,
So
that's too many.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of good things said in each isolated effort. So we need to rewatch that and just remember all the good stuff.
I know what the good stuff
Okay.
is. But what we basically were saying is, like, you're having an experienced person to entertain you or your guests is, it's worth the money and, the time investment and whatever other investments that are there, And it's like you were saying, to know if you're bombing. Because I've seen some magicians perform, and like the one experience who ran long that last time ahead of you, and then you had to cut the short.
Yeah, without experience, I wouldn't have been able to fix it.
He would, but that was, you took your experience and your time, your flight time on stage, and you fixed it. However, that guy was unaware how badly he was bombing. Like,
I wasn't in the audience.
Completely unaware. It was gross.
I wasn't in the audience, so I didn't know that he was bombing. I just knew that he was running really long.
Yeah, no, in my opinion, he was bombing. Like, he stunk up that stage so bad. And he had to come and fix it.
I had to go fix it.
Yeah.
In front of some heroes of mine who, prior to that night, I hadn't met ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did some photo ops. That was fun.
That was a weird night.
It was. It was a weird night. But yes, like, he's a kid. And a kid. And like when I first got into the ballet company, I was technically more advanced than most of the dancers in the company. Like, I was a stronger technician at the time. But they had years on me as far as being on stage. So
There's a difference.
yeah, they didn't deal with as much stage fright. Yes, I could technically execute the movements, but I couldn't perform as well because I had to overcome some things, which later happened at Jubilee, but again, it was the same situation. Like, I was technically advanced above the principals. I mean, in different ways, not like we all had our strengths, I guess, but I was 20 when I got into the show, and I wasn't promoted until I was 23. So I was 23. So I needed that time. Yeah, I had to learn how to command that stage.
You had to become an entertainer, and there's a difference. So the same thing exists in the world of magician.
Yeah.
There are technically incredible practitioners.
Yeah, and they can...
sleight of hand artists, but they are not entertainers. And we've talked about the horrible show that happened in Las Vegas that was based on that same premise. But, the same thing works for painters. You can be a technically perfect painter, but have zero life in your artwork and no expression and you're not an artist. You're a practitioner, a technical, I don't know.
Technical painter.
That's
There's technical writers, and they hate... Well, I knew one who was a technical writer, and she hated it because she probably wants to work with more poetry and prose and... Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So then you get into that art versus heart versus academia. That was the lost episode.
Well, that's one of my big soapbox issues. I've gotten to the point in my career that I'm hearing from other entertainers who want pointers, or they want me to help direct their shows. And the first thing that I say is my soapbox is about authenticity, but also understanding that the experience is more valuable than anything you can learn. I mean, I didn't have a lot of mentors in what I do. On a technical level, I think is the only place that I had teachers, but none of them were entertainers. I had to go off on my own and learn to be an effective entertainer.
Yeah, and there is a difference, I think.
And I didn't learn that from magicians. I went outside of the whole magic school to learn how to be an entertainer.
You left Hogwarts?
I'm Rogue from Hogwarts. Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I'm a little loopy.
So I don't know how much else can be said. I mean, we can talk about it all day.
I mean, I don't think we've even touched on it.
Experience. How has experience affect our careers? I wouldn't be an effective teacher these days if I didn't have a whole lot of... Nobody would hire me if I didn't have experience.
Right?
Right? The only reason they want to hear what I have to say is because I have 40 years of experience.
Yeah. Yeah. But then we talk about the value of it. You charge quite a bit for a show.
I do.
Whereas other people in this area, and I'm talking about the Denver metro area, in the magic community,
Yeah.
they're not charging as much. They're charging what you charged probably when you were 23.
In this market, they're charging considerably less than I am. But part of what you get, or what an entity gets when they hire me, is an insurance that I'm going to be good, that I'm going to be effective, that I'm going to be professional on time.
You're going to be on time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guarantee does not come with the price of these other people.
Right. Right.
there's a whole lot of things I can say and do to justify my rates, but they're justified. And I'm with regard to the other entertainers on my tier, in my tier,
Oh, yeah.
I'm competitively priced.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
That I know. But yeah, I mean, I think that some of these bid requests you get they were expecting what like they had probably already talked to so and so and they're like, whoa, there's 2 more zeros on that number, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What? Yeah, they get confused.
Well,
They
these other folks, I do a little preaching, and some of them are priced fairly for what their skill level is, but that's because they just don't have experience yet.
Right.
You know?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing when I did burlesque. I mean, people thought I was making so much money. I'm like, well, when you do the math, it takes 6 to 7 hours out of my time. If I continue to perform at this rate, that's $12 an hour. Yeah. So I had to stop. Like, I could not perform another show getting paid that amount.
Mm-hmm.
Not after what I had been through, being a principal dancer on the biggest show in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was comical.
You know, in markets like Los Angeles, there's a juicy bit, and it kind of has to do with what we're talking about, but two very fascinating things happen in the music world in Los Angeles. So there's a ton of little venues, little even bars that have a place for a music act to play. And in LA proper, it's pay to play, meaning the bands have to pay the venue for stage time. So that's backwards, right?
Yeah.
But
Wow.
it's because they get exposure to so many of the Los Angeles socialites, right? So the other thing that can happen is that you can see on the marquee performing at a bar is a made-up band name. So say it's Dick and the Giblets. But sorry, it's a funny thing I used to say. But it could be Motley Crue. They just can't play under their own name because somebody else owns all of those songs. And these bands miss playing those little intimate shows. So if you see a really random name on a marquee, it could be a very famous act.
Gaga did a whole dive bar tour a few years ago. I can't remember what she called it. Maybe it was the dive bar tour.
Was it Dick and the Giblets?
No.
Oh.
I think she was still performing under Gaga, but it was sponsored by Pepsi.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's interesting. That's an interesting little bit of trivia.
Yeah, just a little aside, but...
I have a funny juicy bit.
Oh, you have a juicy bit
Yeah.
that's actually on subject? Because that was kind of not on subject. I was just really reminded of it.
Oh, it kind of is. I mean, so it's going back to my time in burlesque, and we were talking in the beginning of the episode about how like this is based on our experience as performers, but it can go into any industry. Really having experience and how to handle like a customer service issue or all these kinds of issues, having experience, like the oldest is looking for a job and she's having a hard time because she has no experience. She has plenty of relevant experience. It's just hard to.
It's an age thing.
Yeah.
It's, I don't think it's...
Anyway, that's not my juicy bit.
Sorry.
You don't have to go onto a tirade about it.
Okay.
Experience is important, right? That's why they will hire you or give you a chance, right? So a woman who was new to producing was given a chance by a dive bar, a venue. Like it was a newish venue coming onto the scene and was given a chance to produce a show. And she said that this was the deal, this was the pay. They're going to have a special dressing room made for us. And I was like, oh my God, this sounds like a dream venue. They're going to create this dressing room for us. Well, we arrived on show day, and it was a trailer, Airstream trailer, parked out back.
Your dressing room.
My dressing room.
Yeah.
With no electricity. And giant holes in the floor. So it was a gutted Airstream. that the venue had bought that they were wanting to fix up. But because it was like November or something, they were like, oh, we're going to wait until it gets warmer to renovate this trailer for our patio later next summer. I don't even remember what year this was, but I just remember I took pictures because it was I was doing Creepy Doll, which was on point, and you know I was wearing point shoes, and I had no place to warm up. I was warming up outside, and I think it was October or November.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, it must have been October because Creepy Doll.
Mm-hmm.
So my point to this Juicy Bit is that she did not have enough experience to ask the right questions, to go check out the venue, to make sure that everything was on the up and up. And, you know, I took this trusting that she was a very mature woman that knew what she was doing, that has been doing burlesque for like 7 years, so she knew. And it was a nightmare. Like, it was second to my worst dressing room experience in burlesque-ish. That, you know, I should have known better, right? But we talk about that. If you want to hear that story, that is a massive Juicy Bit we did for our email subscribers. So if you join our email list, you will get to hear that awesome Juicy Bit of my most horrific show. It was the worst hell gig. We did a email subscribers only episode. So hell gigs, and I can't remember what the other. But everyone wants to hear your hell gigs.
Thinking about my experience with other people who like are in a position that requires a lot of experience. And
Yeah.
first thing that comes to mind is event planners. I work with event planners all the time.
Yeah.
And in order to be a good event planner, you have to be really experienced. But there is a problem with that.
Yeah.
Most event planners don't last because it takes a special kind of person to deal with that much of a constant puzzle and stress.
Well, and they don't get paid very well either. And usually the ones you work with they're like the lead project manager or someone in HR
True.
that is really
they're-
good at
yeah,
organizing things.
right.
And unfortunately, they don't have the experience to be hiring people like you, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, so, you know, this is an example. Somebody who does not have experience might suggest that I perform while people are enjoying their meals. I refuse to compete with food. I won't perform while meals are going. And that's,
Don Arden refused to have a dinner show
yeah,
at Bally's
yeah.
for that exact same reason.
I don't want to compete with the noise of
Yep.
that, with orders being taken,
Yep.
with things being plated and
Yeah.
delivered. I won't, it's not wise. But I get the request all the time. I still get it all the time. And, you know, generally it's a new entertainment or a new event manager or somebody who was thrust into the position from, you know, another role in that company.
Well, that, or I wonder if it's requested by someone above them. It's like, oh, we need to shorten the time, so let's stack some stuff on top of each other. It's like, people don't want to, well, I don't know. Maybe some people do. We don't sit in front of a TV and watch and eat dinner.
No,
I used to do that as a child,
Yeah.
and I didn't want that for my family. I was like, nope, no. Like, that's just not what we do. But maybe the people that are putting on the events and are, expecting that, it's like, maybe that's what happens in their house
There's entertainment while you're eating.
while you're eating.
I haven't really put that much thought to it because I just put my foot down about it. But
Yeah.
that makes sense. That's a possibility.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, why would, like, people want to talk, especially if you're sitting at a round top with, 9 other people, 9 to 11 other people. You want to talk, right? Engage, network.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's a matter of experience because
Yeah.
the same person, after throwing 100 events, you know, I've done 1,000 of them more. They'll realize that doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of things that don't work.
They'll also realize that they probably should have hired me again. I will tell you that a study was done fairly recently, and I'll get your dates sometime if you care. But they asked brides what they would have changed about their reception.
Oh.
And they would have not had an open bar. Almost unanimous.
Yeah.
Almost everybody says this.
Yeah.
Not open bar, and more would have been invested in entertainment.
You told me that a couple of weeks ago, and I was like,
Yeah.
really?
People remember the entertainment. They don't remember the bar.
That's because they drank too much, and it was free.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to see Uncle something
I've seen it.
getting down
Yep. I've
on
seen
the
it.
dance floor with someone who's way too young for him.
I've seen that too.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So experience also. Now I'm thinking about all of the different things that I have to apply experience to. Packing for a show, traveling. There's
For a show.
goodness gracious, yeah. Knowing which things to take, knowing how to pack my costumes so that I don't have to spend 2 hours ironing things.
Yeah.
That's all experience, and
Right.
I mean those are kinds of the things that you can learn from a life hack blog or something, but you still don't get it until you've been there.
Yeah. Till you're hobbling around the streets of Paris in stilettos crying because you didn't bring Epsom salts.
Or flat shoes.
I didn't. Yeah, anyway. Even with experience, I still make mistakes. There's that.
There's that.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything else to say? I mean, I guess we kind of both got on our soapboxes about.
That's
Having
an important
experience.
subject. So I'm grateful that somebody asked, and we're certainly willing to revisit this. If you have something more specific that you'd like to learn from us, get a hold of us. That's easy at hello@onebigcaper.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We can't keep doing this without you. Give us just a little bit of your time by subscribing, sharing, rating, or talking about One Big Caper with someone else. We truly appreciate your support.
We want to hear your stories. Visit onebigcaper.com to get to know us even more.
This episode of One Big Caper was published in 2022. All rights to broadcast in whole or in part are the property of Gazellas Productions, LLC.